Hey everybody, hope you're doing well. Alright, how are you guys today? Today is an amazing day. Here in North Carolina, we have about 65-degree weather, it's sunny, it couldn't be more beautiful. I hope you guys are having a great day too. I had a chance to spend some time with my family and my kids, and I decided to come up here, do a little bit of work at the office, and share something with you guys that's really, really important. Now you guys know our topic has been what? It's been GI tract and how the GI tract affects all these different aspects of health, right? So I've talked a lot about fatigue, how GI tract inflammation in particular contributes to fatigue, contributes to thyroid hormone, impaired thyroid hormone physiology, impaired hormone physiology, brain fog, inability to lose weight, you name it. And today we're going to talk about something else. And this is really inflammation and how it contributes, and gut inflammation contributes to heart disease. Okay? So really, really important here. Guys, do me a favor. If you like this topic, do me a favor and share our live stream so that we can help other people. But if you like this topic, what I'm doing is I'm going to stay with GI, I'm going to stay with metabolism topics, I'm going to stay with how it affects brain fog and energy production and weight loss. If you guys share the video, I'm looking at that as a way that you're voting. Okay, so if I see a lot of people are sharing it, then I know for sure we're going to stay with topics like this. If not, I'm going to move on to something else. Okay, so just do me a favor. If you like this, share it. If not, then don't share it, and I'm going to move on to a different topic. So guys, before I get started too, I just want to say, guys, today we have an opportunity, right? Today we're alive, we're breathing, we have an opportunity to really change our life and take our health back. And so part of what, the mission of our office here is to really help you guys, to empower you so that you can be your own advocate, you can be better partners with your healthcare providers, you can begin helping yourself. Because what you're going to find out is that this, heart disease, do you guys know? Heart disease is the #1 killer in the United States. #1. Leading all other causes of death, followed second by cancer. So guys, everything that we're going to talk about here, and this particular thing here, inflammation, you're going to find that I could teach you over and over and over topics on inflammation and how it affects and impairs your body's physiology and how it's very detrimental. And so a lot of people will tell you that the source of all disease processes comes from inflammation. But really what's driving the inflammatory process is what we really have to get to the root of, right? We've got to figure that out. And we're going to talk about some ways to do that, as I always try to help you guys figure out like what's the next step to help yourself, okay? But let's talk about this topic of how bad gut function or inflammation can contribute to heart disease, okay? So here's what we're going to do. We're going to just start by telling the story here, beginning with the gut. So this is, if you guys haven't figured out what this is yet, this is supposed to be a large intestine, and these are small intestine in the center. And then these small little red dots are my way of representing inflammation within the gut. Okay? So inflammation in particular can come from a lot of different sources. There's more than just this, but it can come from infections. And so infections in particular, we see bacterial, fungal, and parasitic that can be in the gut. Now, changing your diet, which is what I'm going to share with you guys, is probably the best way for a lot of people to start trying to help themselves. I'm not advocating at all that you don't get, if you're having problems with your health, you need to be evaluated. You need to work with someone that's skilled, that can at least help you figure out if that's an appropriate first step, changing diet. But I will tell you this, your body, you can't go wrong with improving your diet, no matter what your problems are. Diet is always helpful for systemic health. So let's say these are things that your diet's not going to change, guys. Okay, so in particular, bacterial infections, fungal infections, and parasitic infections. And I just want to qualify something before someone makes a comment. Yes, your diet can help with fungal. Well, yeah, diet is going to improve everything, but you can't necessarily get rid of fungal infections just by changing your diet, right? You do want to change your diet to have low sugar if you have like Candida overgrowth or something, but let's just talk in general here, bacterial, fungal, and parasitic infections. Those can all drive an inflammatory process here, break down the GI tract wall, promoting and causing leaky gut or intestinal permeability. That lets bacteria and proteins and things that are in the gut, in the digestive tract, into the bloodstream, and it triggers an inflammatory response. Okay? The other things is that you're going to see is that autoimmunity. So some people, I work with people in my office and all over the country and world. We do distance consulting. We do a lot of different things to try and help people that have autoimmunity. Primarily I work with Hashimoto's, which is an autoimmune thyroid condition. But a lot of times we find that people that have Hashimoto's have multiple autoimmune conditions. So I'll see that people have inflammatory bowel diseases like Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, lots of other inflammatory bowel conditions. Now you're guaranteed that if that is occurring, if that person has an inflammatory bowel condition, there's going to be inflammation, okay? So these can create inflammation. Also, SIBO, or small intestinal, now this would impact the small intestine here more than anything, so just the digestive tract here, you guys, the small intestine's from basically the stomach to where it reaches the cecum or the valve at the large intestine here. The small intestine is where most of your nutrients and everything are actually absorbed. And small intestinal bacterial overgrowth can promote a lot of inflammation of the small intestine itself. Okay? And if you guys don't know, like SIBO, if you've never heard of SIBO, boy, I'm not doing a very good job here. If you've never heard of small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, the most common symptom that you're going to see with SIBO is you're going to see that when someone eats, after they eat, they bloat. And in particular, they bloat with foods that have specific types of sugars and fibers in them. Okay? So you're going to look at a group of sugars and fibers called FODMAPs. I'll write it here. Okay, so they tend to FODMAPs. They tend to bloat after they eat, and they swell up. Now, that can mean that you've had the bacteria that's normally found here in the large intestine. You have a valve right here that separates. It's called the Ileocecal Valve, that separates the large intestine from the small intestine. Okay, if for any reason this valve does not close properly, you can have a migration, or what we call a translocation of bacteria from here into the small intestine. And then what happens is the bacteria starts to grow, and this bacteria is bacteria that's normally found here in the large intestine, but it moves into the small intestine, and what happens is that it ferments the food and the fibers and the sugars that you eat, in particular a group called FODMAPs. Now this is an acronym for different types of sugars and fibers. It ferments them, and you'll have bloating. Now, depending on the type of FODMAPs or the type of bacterial overgrowth here, you can have diarrhea or you can have constipation. Okay, so it's really interesting, but that is something that you'll see that will create. It's a chronic infection, guys, and it's something that you have to treat typically with specialized diet and also a nutraceutical approach, right? Using temporary nutritional supplementation for anywhere from 2 to 6 months typically. And that's really, it's important that you get those things under control. Now, food allergies, like celiac disease is a true food allergy. It's not a sensitivity. Celiac disease can just wreak havoc on the gut and promote inflammation. Nutrient deficiencies can create issues where the gut wall may not repair, promoting an inflammatory environment. Some medications, like what type of medications? Can anyone tell me, like put it in the comments if you know, what types of medications might promote an inflamed gut? Can anyone tell me what types of medications? Let's talk about over-the-counter medications too. Very common that people take on a regular basis. Over-the-counter medications that can cause gut inflammation. Can anyone tell me? I'm going to write it here for you. Sideways. NSAIDs, right? Non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, right? So non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, what they can do is they can actually impair the repair process of the gut wall. They can promote ulcers. They can really wreak a lot of havoc on your mucosal lining. Okay, so some medications can all promote an inflamed gut, and guess what the inflammation does? Okay, this is where we really get into how it contributes to heart disease. So the inflammation is the main thing that contributes to heart disease. Now let's talk about this. So this inflammatory process, what you'll end up seeing is that if you measure, and with this, guys, we always do this. I always test this. If you see that someone has high C-reactive protein, here, okay, CRP, C-reactive protein. If you see that someone has high C-reactive protein, or actually what we do is we'll look at it, and the scale that we use and that the labs use that we commonly order this marker through is 0 to 3. Okay, that's the lab range. Below 1 is considered ideal. Above 1 is considered a risk factor. Now, this is very interesting. So I see people all the time that have lab high C-reactive protein. And you know when the C-reactive protein is high that there's active tissue destruction, inflammation somewhere in the body. This is not good at all, because what you're going to find is that a high C-reactive protein, so there was a study that was done in the New England Journal of Medicine, okay? New England Journal of Medicine, very prestigious research publication, and what they said in that publication was that a high C-reactive protein, if you had C-reactive protein that was in the top 25% of the range, so let's say you're not even lab high, you're not even above that 3 yet, but you're maybe 2 to 3, you're in that top range, that if you were in that top 25%, you had they found a 3 times incident rate. This is not just you're at risk, this is an incident rate. So it occurred 3 times the incidence rate of myocardial infarction. Heart attack, guys. Heart attack, right here. 3 times, all right? This is really important. Inflammation matters. It's why it's the first thing I look at. You have thyroid problems? Guess what? I'm not looking at your thyroid labs first. I'm looking at C-reactive protein, and we're going to talk about homocysteine in just a second, which is right here. So you have a 3 times incidence rate of a heart attack, and you have a 2 times incidence rate of stroke, ischemic stroke, loss of blood supply. Okay? 2 times incidence rate of stroke, all because of C-reactive protein. Now here's what was really fascinating. Okay, so we know that inflammation contributes to these things. But here's what was really interesting. It was independent of lipids and smoking. And what does that mean? It means it doesn't matter. It didn't matter if the cholesterol was elevated or not. It didn't matter if you smoked or not. If your C-reactive protein was high, this was independent. So you could have normal lipids, you could be a non-smoker, but you could have high C-reactive protein and you are at a 3 times risk of heart attack, 2 times risk of stroke. And people think that their cholesterol is the only thing that matters. Folks, I'm going to tell you right now, this is a critically important thing to look at. Inflammation. And if it's there, it's not just, okay, it's there. No, it's like, okay, it's here. Why is it here? What is driving that? And that's when you have to start digging deeper and figuring out what is going on. If you really want to be truly healthy, guys, you've got to dig and look at this stuff and take it seriously. This is the #1 cause of death in the United States, heart disease. And this is a major contributing factor, C-reactive protein. This is critically important. I want to share the importance of the gut to you guys because this is something that we see on a regular basis. Do you know that there are over 70 million people in the United States with digestive tract problems? And guys, tell me how many of you have heard of or know someone that was in good health? They said, oh, they were in good health and they have a heart attack like that. Completely unexpected. Right? It's silent. It's the silent killer for a reason, guys. Because you don't know it's a problem until it's too late. You've got to look at C-reactive protein. You've got to look at your health. You've got to have someone that's looking at your health that's not just looking at it and trying to figure out how can I just make this person feel better in the short term. You've got to look at the whole person and say what is going on with this person so that they can live a vibrant, healthy life and feel better. Okay? That's really, really important, guys. It's really, really important. So, okay, one last thing. When we're talking about bacterial infections here, one bacterial infection that is extremely common in the U.S. population, it's extremely common in the Russian population as well, is H. pylori. Okay, H. pylori, Helicobacter pylori, is a bacterial infection that inhabits the stomach, and it burrows into the lining of the stomach, and it decreases the acidity within the stomach. That creates a lot of potential problems. Okay, for one thing, it's an infection, right, that can promote an inflammatory process, but it also can drive up the other inflammatory marker that I check on every single person I work with, which is homocysteine. Homocysteine is an inflammatory. Your body makes it normally as part of the methionine cycle. Okay, it's just part of your normal biochemistry, but it needs to be metabolized and broken down. Right? So some people are familiar with homocysteine because they've had genetic testing. And someone's told them that they have the MTHFR genetic SNP. So the MTHFR genetic SNP, where am I going to write it here? Someone tells them that they have the MTHFR SNP. You guys familiar with this? And you write SNP like this, S-N-P. SNP, single nucleotide polymorphism. It's a gene uniqueness. That's all it is, guys. It's a gene uniqueness. We have a tremendous number, thousands of them, okay? And here's the thing. We don't know enough about these things to use them directly as a way, like only use those to support your body. I mean, for these SNPs to really have significance and to use them more effectively, you have to address inflammation. You have to address food sensitivities. You have to address chemical reactivity and environmental chemicals. You have to address hormone imbalances. Then you look at these things whenever if you get to a point where you're not progressing, then you look at these things and you say, all right, how can we maybe support these? And because they're not always a problem. Just because you find that you have a SNP doesn't mean you don't have another gene uniqueness somewhere else that's compensating for it. Okay? But here's the thing. I digress here. Homocysteine, if you have a MTHFR, methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase SNP, then what happens is you might have high homocysteine. If you have a certain variation here, you might have high homocysteine. Okay? Because what this does is it allows you to take B vitamins and convert them into their active form that the body can use so that you can metabolize and break down homocysteine within your normal biochemistry. Without this enzyme, which is what it is, this is an enzyme, you can't convert the B vitamins to their active form and your homocysteine can build up. And homocysteine is inflammatory. Homocysteine is a risk factor for cardiovascular disease. High homocysteine, risk factor for cardiovascular disease, heart disease, neurodegenerative diseases, all these problems, right? All these potential problems. So homocysteine is the second thing I look at on labs. C-reactive protein, then homocysteine. H. pylori can contribute to higher homocysteine levels because what it does is it decreases your acidity and your ability to absorb B12 and folate. It's really important because remember, B12 and folate are what help you to metabolize homocysteine. So if you've got this infection that's contributing to inflammation, it can drive up C-reactive protein and homocysteine all together, contributing to a very potentially dangerous environment for you. Okay? So guys, I hope you guys are learning something. And remember, if you like these videos and you like what I'm teaching and I'm showing you guys, please share it because you don't know who you're going to help, right? You don't know who you're going to help. Because I always try to tell you guys where to start, what to do. I'm trying to educate you so that you can be empowered and take your health back. Okay, you can be your own advocates. It's really important. Be your own advocates. You can be better partners with your healthcare providers. But guys, don't be frustrated if you don't get this when you go to your doctor's office because they have not been trained in this. Okay, they have not been trained in this. And it's not that they can't understand it. It's not that they can't get training in this. But the system that they work within does not give them the time or the tools or the authority through your insurance to bill for testing to do this. And then they don't have time to go over the results and formulate plans that are going to help you get better. So you've got to educate yourself, understand that that they may not understand this completely, and not butt heads with them, but try to be a better advocate for yourself and help yourself and work with your providers the best that you can. And you know what? Sometimes that means you have to find someone else to work with. And if you do, that's okay. But you don't have to be adversarial or mad at your doctor. They're under enough stress. I mean, they're really under a tremendous amount of stress. I'm not making excuses for them, but I just want you to realize it's a lot more complex than just they won't order the test. It's much more complex. So, okay, so what do we do? Okay, that's a good question. What do we do here, guys? We have to, with all of this together, right, we've got to decrease. I mean, the source of this is what? It's inflammation. So if the source of the problem is inflammation, then address the inflammation, right? So we've got infections and all these bacterial, fungal, parasitic, autoimmune conditions, food allergies, nutrient deficiencies, and then some medications. Guys, everything here is better with a optimal diet, right? Optimal diet. So what type of diet, and I know you guys watch me all the time, and I feel like a broken record, but there's a lot of people that will see this for the first time, so I need to repeat myself. What type of diet, and post it in the comments if you know, what type of diet is most appropriate for this, or might be most appropriate. It's not going to be, guys, if you missed my live stream yesterday, I talked a lot about uniquenesses of diet and how even talked about some of the genetics that we need to consider when we're trying to figure out what the best diet is for a person. Okay? If you missed that, go back and watch the live stream yesterday. It's on our page here. But diet in particular, most people, I'm going to find that most people tend, not everyone, definitely not everyone, but most people tend to improve with an autoimmune paleo-esque dietary framework. Okay? And it's, you know, when I work with people, we're always tailoring that. We're always tailoring that approach. But an autoimmune paleo-esque framework. And you guys know that we have our own program called the 6-Week Hashimoto's Transformation Program. That's a dietary framework that we've used for over 5 years. We've refined it. It has lifestyle interventions, and we walk you through and help you figure out what type of supplementation might be best to help you with repairing and healing your gut that will help to address autoimmunity, blood sugar imbalance, inflammation, and a lot of things. So we try to do as much as we can, but if that's not a reasonable thing for you guys to try doing is following like a program like we have, then something that's completely free is like the autoimmune paleo approach. It's just gonna you just have to do a little bit of homework and look it up. But that's completely fine. You can find a lot of great resources and stuff out there to help you do that. But guys, upgrading your diet is step one. I mean, it doesn't matter what your health problems are. Upgrading and improving your diet. And so, even if you're not doing like autoimmune paleo, right, or like a program like ours, what might be a very simple way to upgrade and improve your diet? Cut out all processed foods, eat real food, eat whole foods, eat stuff that comes from the earth, right? Eat real things and don't buy processed foods. If it's been processed, get it out of your house, get it out of your diet. Eat real food. Don't eat the stuff that's a man-made product. It's a food-like product, right? Eat real whole foods that are as minimally processed as possible and watch your health change. Okay? So guys, that's a great place to start, is diet alone. Okay? And if you guys haven't, we're getting closer to the end of the month. You can go to thyroidgiveaway.com and you can register to win our program for free. You and a friend. And if you haven't, you should enter into it, because guys, it's a great program. You can ask people that have been through it, that are in our group. It works for a lot of people. I mean, it doesn't work for everyone, obviously, because nothing works for everyone. Nothing does. Absolutely nothing, because we all have different drivers of our process, but our program works really well. But you can enter to win it free. We announce a winner every single month at the end of the month, and I'd love to see one of you guys win that and be able to share it with someone or a friend and go through it, get into our private Facebook group, and really get some support. And what I'm getting ready to do is, after we get off this live stream, I'm going to jump into our Hashimoto Transformation Program support group, and I'm going to do a live question and answer with everyone that's in there, that's in our program. So if you're on here and you're in our group, hop on there. I'm going to do a live stream here in just a minute. But guys, I hope this helped you out. Please do share the message with other people. Please do let me know if you have questions. Post them in the comments here. We're going to get back to you guys. We're going to create videos on specific topics to help you as much as possible. Guys, if you have inflammation, period, diet is never going to be a bad place. It's never going to be a bad place to start. So guys, you have an opportunity today. Remember that. You have an opportunity today that a lot of people will never have. There are people that left their home today that will never return home. You think about that for a second. You have an opportunity to change your health today, to improve your life. So quit making excuses and just keep fighting. You start learning, watch every video I've ever created, and start empowering yourself. Start learning how to take your health back and be your own advocate for completely free. It doesn't cost you anything but some time. Become your own advocate and take advantage of the day and the opportunity that you have. You can make a difference. You can make a difference in your health. You can make a difference in your community. You can make a difference in your families, in your family and the people that you care about in their lives. If you're breathing today, you have a fighting chance. Quit making excuses and just do it. Just make a decision. And you know what? Be determined through failure. You're going to fail. It's okay. It's okay to fail. All right. I'll stop lecturing you guys on motivation, but it's really important because it's I think it's the primary thing that people miss. They don't realize that the urgency, and they don't have the determination because they haven't figured out why they need to fight, or why all this stuff, which tends to be confusing for people, is is worth trying to figure out. And guys, here's the thing too. I mean, if you need help, we do consultations with people. I mean, I do like 15-minute consultations with people. I'd be happy to help you piece together the ideas that you have and help you get direction. You know, you can definitely do that. That's something that you can do. But you guys, just ask questions here. Give us feedback. Allow us to help you. We will help you as much as we possibly can. I promise you. I'll give you everything I possibly can for free. That I'm not having to like pay you. You've got to be motivated to help yourself, though. Okay. So I hope this guys has helped you out. If you're in our 6-week Hashimoto's transformation program, I'm getting ready to do a live stream in there and do some question and answer for probably about 15 minutes. But guys, I hope this helped you out to understand this gut connection, this bad digestive tract and heart disease connection. You know what? I'm going to do a live stream, and I'm actually going to cover. I'm going to cover how inflammation contributes to high blood pressure and high lipids, higher cholesterol. Okay, and I'm going to do that in some of the next live streams. So please do join me. If you guys have any questions, please post them in the comments. Please do share this with other people, guys. Remember, if you share this, I'm going to keep talking about the gut and how this stuff's connected, metabolism, brain fog, fatigue. We're going to talk about the adrenal glands. I'm going to really focus on those topics that you guys are most interested in. But you guys have to share the video. That's how I'm going to know that you want to see more like this. But guys, I appreciate you so much. Hope you have a wonderful, wonderful day. I hope it's beautiful where you are too. It's beautiful here, so I'm not going to stay here all day. But I really appreciate you guys and really appreciate you joining me. If there's anything we can do for you, please do let us know. And I hope you have a wonderful day. And I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks. Hey guys, Dr. Shook, thank you for viewing our videos. I hope they help you out. If you want to, just subscribe to our channel somewhere here. You can watch a video that YouTube's actually selected for you, so hopefully it'll help you out. If you need any other information or resources, just look in the description. We've got links to our website, to our 9 lab test guidebook, and everything else that we do. I really appreciate you, and I hope you guys have a great